Should you hold on to your current job or quit? With layoffs hitting across industries, hiring pipelines slowing down, and companies getting more selective, a job move in today's market isn't something that you want to just ad lib. At the same time, staying in the wrong job, especially a toxic one, can drain your career, your confidence, and even perhaps your mental health. Today, I'm going to walk you through a few points that you may want to consider to help you determine whether staying is a strategic move or maybe even the right move, at least for the time being. Or if you do determine it's time to go, that you've given some thoughtful concern to and made an educated, prepared decision about moving forward. Before we dig in, my name is Doug, and I've helped thousands of people navigate through job search. If you want a step-by-step system to help you navigate your job search for about the cost of half of one-on-one coaching session, check out my Fast Track Job Search Bootcamp. I also offer some limited one-on-one coaching services, and I've got a free 7-day job search Kickstart as my free gift from me to you. You can find links to all of these down in the description. Let's jump in. First, let me say that not all negative job experiences are equal. Is what you are dealing with a toxic environment or just a bad fit? I've worked in both. Before you decide to quit, it can be helpful to determine if what you're dealing with is perhaps a bad fit. It may look like something that doesn't play to your strengths, or maybe you're not aligned with the values of the leadership or the style, or perhaps it just feels stagnant or draining, or there's no place for upward mobility. These can be legitimate reasons to leave, but they are not typically urgent emergencies. And in today's market, you have to weigh that. A toxic environment, on the other hand, is often something that involves constant disrespect or maybe manipulation or threats or someone attempting to sabotage your work, perhaps harassment, or maybe just dumping unrealistic workloads on you as a means to maybe retaliate or kind of punish you. A toxic environment is not just unpleasant, it's damaging. There are differences, though, between being uncomfortable and something that is truly unhealthy. Only you can determine whether staying in this environment will cost you your mental health or maybe your confidence or your professional reputation. But you have to do your best to stay factual and not emotional so that you can make a clear decision. Similar to this, one of the most overlooked factors is timing. Most people quit because they hit a breaking point. When your job becomes frustrating or draining, your brain can go into like tunnel vision. You start thinking, I just gotta get out of here. But decisions made out of frustration often kind of lead to worse outcomes. In unstable markets, timing becomes very important. Is there anything about your role, projects, or the timing, or anything else that could be a factor? Are you in the middle of an achievement or maybe a major accomplishment that could look great on your resume? Are major organizational changes maybe underway, like leadership changes or maybe a restructuring? Events like these could either lead to opportunities or, on the other side, a severance package and out the door. But you need to analyze timing, and if it seems appropriate, give yourself a bit of time to detach emotionally and evaluate this objectively. Here's one that people often overlook: considering whether there may be opportunity for internal mobility before you walk out the door. Before quitting, think about, are there alternative roles that maybe in your current organization that may solve a real issue without starting an external job search? Internal moves often have a quicker hiring timeline, oftentimes little or no competition, and sometimes a fairly quick transition. In a tight market, it may be worth exploring. Think for a moment. Does your company have a culture of promoting or allowing lateral moves? In your memory, do you recall anyone switching departments in maybe the last year? Are there any upcoming projects or roles that you're aware of where you may be able to reposition yourself? Sometimes the problem may not be the employer, it could be the role or the manager or the team. And this can be where it's worth to explore internal options. Next, if you make a shift right at this particular time, could this impact the perception of you in the market or for, say, future opportunities? It's worth considering how potential employers may interpret the move depending upon your unique dynamics. Things like timing or patterns. For example, does the departure add another short tenure to a resume that could really benefit from some longer stints? It may not be fair or what we want to hear, but I'm just trying to tell you the truth. In today's market, hiring managers scrutinize resumes harder than ever. Leaving too quickly, especially without a clear reason or something that makes sense, can create a hurdle to explain during an interview. So, before leaving, ask yourself how this fits in your overall career strategy. This isn't about sticking it out unnecessarily because there are times to go. It's about protecting your long-term career story. And I've said this many times before, but it bears repeating. You need to understand the landscape of the job market, and particularly in your space. Why does this matter? Because quitting into a weak market, and key point here, without a plan, can lead to a long job search, which increases financial pressure. And that pressure often leads people to accept jobs that they may not even want. How stable is your industry? How long is the average job search in your field? Are there more job postings now than 3 months ago, or are there fewer? Are your skills in demand? You need to know some of these things. You don't need a perfect answer, but you need a realistic baseline. And from there, you can begin to make an informed choice, not an emotional one. Sometimes, even in a tough job market, a move is the best choice. But let me caution you, if you can, find a job while you have a job. And if that's not possible, at least have a plan in place before you quit. Don't jump without a parachute. Make sure that you know exactly what you're targeting, which companies, and have your resume together, your cover letter, networking, prepped for interviews, and also make sure that you have a financial plan in place to help for at least a few months. Leaving without career direction leads to drifting, but if you have a plan and a roadmap, it can make a tremendous difference in momentum. If you need help with getting a plan in place and navigating through your career with some strategy, check out the links in the description below to my website and some of my resources, as well as maybe consider some one-on-one coaching. So, staying isn't always the best option, and neither is quitting. Either could be the right choice, even a smart choice if done with intention and for the right reasons. Do your best to determine which decision increases your long-term stability. While you're here, drop a comment down below and tell me about your experience. I'd love to hear how things are going for you. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and maybe subscribe. And if you want a step-by-step system to help you navigate your job search, check out my Fast Track Job Search Bootcamp. I'll leave a link down in the description. I'll also leave a link to my 7-day job search Kickstart. It's my free gift to you.